is this?
Well, it's here, a day I thought would never arrive. I'm on my way into White City, Centre House, BBC, to have my first meeting about writing for Doctor Who. Well, that passed off very well. Very warm and lovely reception. Everyone unbelievably excited that we're actually doing Doctor Who. Can't quite believe it. A lot of pinching going on. That's Russell. Yeah, so now I sort of took them through my ideas based on Russell's original outline of the story. What I'm sort of juggling with at the moment is the idea of the story of the maid and her dead brother. And I suppose giving it a more serious edge, the idea that she's eager for the dead to come back, and in fact the aliens, which are at the moment not necessarily power crazed, are just trying to survive. Their idea of housing themselves in the dead is not a bad notion as far as they're concerned. Obviously to humanity at large it's beyond the pale. I suppose the only real danger at the moment is that I think everyone's expecting me to kind of produce a romp, spooky, definitely spooky, but mostly a romp. And funnily enough, all the themes of spiritualism and death and mourning in it, I don't know, I somehow think against expectations it might turn out to be a bit more serious. Actually slightly nervous about starting after all these years, although I've told everyone I've had it in my head for 30 odd years. But it's very different thinking this will be the one, this is actually going on television, this is Doctor Who, not just a book or even an audio play, it's the real thing, and it's extraordinary how much pressure I'm feeling. I think I might ring up a couple of the others and see how they're feeling, and also the big question is how to write this new Doctor based on Russell's first episode and then presumably on the casting of whoever it is, we don't know yet. But yeah, that was couldn't really have gone better. It's the kind of meeting you like to think you have all the time, rarely do. So I better get on with it. Well, it's going well, I think. It is turning into a bit more of a romp than I expected, which is probably good news. I didn't want it to be maudlin. Then I try to find a way of defeating them through the properties of the gas that they exist in. That's why they're hiding in the pipes. It's their natural environment. So the logical thing was to change the state of the environment that they inhabit. So cooling it seems to be the logical thing. That's what you do with gas. You can cool gas, change its state. And when you change it, when you remove the carbon dioxide and other properties from it, it becomes a liquid. So I thought maybe that's the way to defeat them. Liquefy them, bottle them up, chuck them away, put them in the fridge. The others and I went out for an Indian meal yesterday in Hammersmith, a place called Chula. Steve Moffat, Paul Cornell, Rob Shearman, and we kind of just had a group hug over the barges. Just so delighted to be doing it, not quite believing we were allowed to. We eased out tidbits about our stories, and then as the drink flowed, more and more came out. Huge chunks of dialogue and plot, everyone getting very excited. And I have to say the stories sound just wonderful, and I just thought, God, as a season this has got it's so juicy. It's like, God, people hopefully we're just going to love it. So I'm trying the idea of maybe starting the whole episode with the TARDIS scene. Russell's very keen to have journeys in the TARDIS now much more dangerous. The floor plate's lifting, so it's just the Doctor's barely in control of it. So this is their first journey into the past and wants to make more of it. In that way, which kind of gets back to my original idea about it, you won't see anything of 1860 until it's through Rose's eyes. So the first thing you see of it will be the TARDIS doors opening onto that snowy garden at night, and all the wonder of that, followed by straight into the seance, and then the Gelf arriving on that. They also wanted more of the Gelf personified. Now that's something I've been slightly going against to avoid the kind of doctor cliche. But I think maybe they're right. I think Phil Collinson said maybe the reason it's a cliche is because that's what Doctor Who does very well, and you kind of want those moments. It's frustrating process. I can't seem to do it at the moment. I'm going to go for a walk now, try and blow some cobwebs away and have a think. The heart of it. I probably need to read Russell's script again to get more of the flavour of the new approach. I think what's happening is it's becoming too traditional, doctor-companion relationship, and not that I don't want to, destroy all that, but yeah, difficult, very difficult. It's Christopher Eccleston. Doctor Who is Christopher Eccleston. An amazing sequence of days, starting on Friday. There was just suddenly all over the internet a real buzz in the air. I went in to see Lorraine and said, "Is it true?" And she said, "What?" And it was all very secretive, negotiations still going on, and then by the end of the day it had been announced, and they sort of bounced into it. Oh, very strange. Very positive reaction all round. Most people I've spoken to had initial thoughts that of his doer sort of TV persona is at odds with the fun of Doctor Who, but I just keep thinking of, first of all, having worked with him and met him, and he's a nice guy, and he wants to have more fun in his life, in his career rather. But secondly, you could have said the same about William Hartnell, tough guy image, and yet he found something in Doctor Who which was never given to him anywhere else. So I think it's a fantastic choice, and as I said to Russell in an email the other day, it's the kind of heavyweight casting that finally kicks into touch, well, for some time at least, those sorts of tabloid stories about Lawrence Welland-Bowen or Debbie McGee or other non-actors or weathermen being given the best job on television. So it's a statement of intent, it's a serious decision, and it's marvellous, I think. And now, of course, we start thinking about tailoring the scripts to him. It's April the 6th, I think. I'm on the floor here because my chair is just broken.
But here I am, nevertheless, in Lisbon, adding a little local colour to this video diary. Very funny idea, change of direction to open it out a bit and to get away from the house, is to set it in a funeral parlour and have the Gelf already coming through Gwyneth, although she doesn't know it, and sort of experimenting on various members of the dead, so that the Undertaker and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Sneed, as they now get to be, are much more. It's actually a sort of professional embarrassment that they can't keep the dead down. And I can see lots of scenes as immediately very exciting and funny. And I came up with the idea of that Dickens has a fan who pursues him through all his reading. He stops in the middle of the reading that we see him at, because the woman, his fan, is in the front row, but she's actually been dead for a week. And she's on the loose from Sneed's parlour, and they're traipsing around Cardiff in a hearse trying to track her down. So there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of fun, building towards a climactic seance where the Gelf comes through properly, which I think is very good. All sound stuff. I just wonder, in the middle of this, whether I'm going to lose a lot of the Gwyneth drama, which I really like.
The immediate problem was, I thought, starting from a much more comedic place. A scene I love immediately, where a man is shown in to see his dead relative, has a quiet moment, she reaches up from the coffin, starts to throttle him, and the Undertaker comes in and unexpectedly rolls his eyes and shouts, "Gwyneth, get your bloody bones down here, we've got another one. So it was hard in that sort of context to then, as it were, rescue a lot of the grimness. I know, I mean, that's what Russell wanted, because he thought it was just becoming too grim and it was in danger of being a play for today rather than Doctor Who, which is absolutely true, I think. It's just a process, and it's difficult. It becomes difficult to hang on to things you really treasure because they simply don't work anymore. So I wrote a whole draft with Mr. and Mrs. Sneed, and then realised that Mrs. Sneed was superfluous because the heart of the story is still Gwyneth and Gwyneth's powers. And I put in all that stuff about her knowing how much sugar the Doctor takes in his tea, and up that to show that she had latent psychic powers she wasn't aware of. And I brought in a fake medium, Gideon Mortlock, who was going to do all that stuff, all the fun stuff there. Sent it away and then got a very positive response, had a great meeting. And the big thing was to give Dickens this journey of his, and it's about him confronting the fact that his rational beliefs just don't count for squat. So I'm pretty pleased with what I've done. He kind of runs away and then makes a bold decision to come back and help the Doctor, and it is he who comes up with the notion of turning on the gas taps to draw the Gelth out, which I thought worked well. Whether it's right or not, I don't know, but it seemed like the only way to give him a real job at the end. Tell us more coherently where we are.
Right, where we are, the three of us, the four of us in fact, as you count as well, even though you're behind the camera.
I am camera.
As the we four, the Chula, as we know, are meeting collectively to go to the first read-through of the new series of Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. And we're going to listen to some episodes written by Russell T Davies, who isn't here because he's a smart ass.
And how have you enjoyed the experience so far?
So far, I've had a whale of a time. I've really loved it. It's brilliant. Brilliant. I never get to write anything like this. I only write about breasts and people having complex love lives. To write about monsters and have cliffhangers and...
Monsters, breasts and complex love life.
Yes. In fact,
that's the difference.
The moment in my script, I don't know if it's going to survive, so I'll put it here. There's a major plot twist around breasts. I don't think I can get away with that. I keep working out how I'm going to write the scene.
The sound of Robert Holmes spinning.
Yes.
All right, I'm moving now across. Please identify yourself.
I'm Paul Cornell.
Tell us some more about yourself.
I'm a rather bad writer of television, but quite a good writer of novels, I think. Who's lucked out and finally got his dream come true since I was 10, of writing a Doctor Who story for TV.
Tell us a little about your story, Paul.
Mine's called Wounded Time, and is about Rose's past and family.
Which episode is it?
8.
How have you enjoyed the experience so far?
It's been fantastic.
This is so upbeat, this, I love it.
I've got to do what I want to do, and I'm thoroughly proud of what I've written.
Excellent. You know the only sad thing? They'll never clear this music.
Mark Ayres, are you out there?
Please identify yourself.
I'm Rob Shearman. I'm also a writer on the new series of
What
TV
a
Doctor Who.
coincidence.
It's amazing, isn't it? We're all here.
On which episode are you kind of writing?
I'm kind of writing episode 6, which hasn't got a title at the second for various reasons, which may or may not become clear
Posterity,
later.
surely this is okay.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
Well, my episode was called Dalek, and
What was it about?
and, we read the episode 1, episode 4 and episode 5 around a big table at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. And it's gobsmacking. It's actually now really happening. Doctor Who we're actually starting. And Christopher Eccleston is extraordinary. He's got the charm and the humour and all the light touches and the great serious gravitas that I was hoping for. And he's got an amazing rapport with Dame Billy Piper as Rose. And it's just going to be such fun. And actually seeing it for the first time, and obviously everyone was very nervous because read-throughs are always very, very tense. Sitting around a big table and just seeing all the cast just relax and have fun with it. And just seeing how well it's going to be. Terribly exciting. You know, Doctor Who starts again now.
August the 4th, Bray Studios, on location, Miss Marple, as you can probably tell. And we looked at some sort of mood boards for episode 3, and they'd done their research, lovely stuff, and we talked about casting. To my delight, they had seen Alan David, an old favourite of mine, who was top of my list for Sneed, and he loved him, so really fingers crossed for that.
Today is the day, Doctor Who Day, in the car on the way to Cardiff for the first day of shooting on my episode of Doctor Who, The Unquiet Dead. It's been a long journey, and we've still got to get to Cardiff. But the sun is shining, it's a beautiful day, the beaches are open, and, well, can't wait.
Yet let any man express, if he can, how it was. Sorry, I stopped. Cut that. Okay, cut and reset. Thank you. Sorry, not what's this?
How it happened.
Oh, no. Cut and reset. Thank you.
I'm doing it in night. I'm doing it in night vision, like Most Haunted.
Dickens says, "What phantasmagoria is this?" And Mrs. Peace stands up and she lets a cry come from her lips, and the ghost raises from her face and starts swirling about above her head, or a foot above her head. So what I need you to do is to react to that action. So on Dickens's line, and action!
Oi! Leave her alone! Doctor, I'll get her!
Be careful! Cut!
Great. So it's a tribute to the script, bless him. He's such a Dickens expert. He's so enthusiastic. Chris was saying to me how he's completely dedicated to it, really wants to go for it and loves the idea. And it was magic, really. The strangest thing of all was just hearing people casually saying the Gelf, especially the first assistant line to say, so the Gelf is streaming up into the upper circle, and you look at that, and the Gelf come through, and then the Gelf over there. It's just a silly name for Doctor Who monster. Power. Fantastic. So I had a wonderful day, one of the nicest days of my whole life, probably.
So, Eros, say some words for my video diary for this episode. Tell me why this is your favourite episode of anything you've ever done.
Fi wrth fy modd Doctor Who wedi yn y tywer. Mae'n peth gorau yn y byd.
I'll have subtitles.